Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
So just to recap Studio, it's the BRT report that we're going to see. It's mainly for the integration purpose wherein you can design your own template. Report design template, and then you can either use it for an offer letter, salary increase letter, and then any letter to an employee. You can probably go with that report design. Let's start with the report. So you guide me now how to create a report. So we are going to create a detailed report. So we will use all active and terminated. So can I try using a matrix report for the BRT? We can write C. You do not see that web service option here. So what report should definitely be? So you see that enable as web service. This will go and enable it. So let's start adding some of the basic fields. So whenever you search for a field right, there will be some. So you won't get these many workers anyways in production, but however, you might see multiple fields. So you have to choose the respective fields, click on the related actions, and then see what is the related business object. This worker should be under the worker business object. So we have to make sure that we select the appropriate field. Otherwise, for some it will work, for some it will not work. So the most important thing on reporting is you should know the field that you need. Mostly the name of the field would be similar to what we call, right, a manager or something like that. So you should know that field name. So you have to get familiarized with yourself in the fields. I'm just running the detailed account report. You could see there are so many things right. Let's take one employee as a sample, because in BART, we will not be able to do testing for everyone. We have to pick just one employee and then we can do the sample. So the BART can't integrate large data. Yes, so the BART, here you can only do testing, right? You are only doing testing. When you do the connection, you can only do a sample data testing. You cannot do the entire data testing. You have to move it into a testing tenant and then you have to start your testing. This is just a designing screen. You can just pick random employees. You can pick some random employees with different scenarios and then you can do the testing. Let me show now. We have tested that this report is working as expected with all the fields. Now what we will do? We will create a new project. So we started this with the salary increase, but we should rename it. We will be so in the report demo. We are going to create a new report design. We will say employee letter. So now we have the template. So what I need to do is first, we have to connect to Workday. So let's go through the slides in between. So in BART, we can also do a formatting option. Formatting meaning in BART document how you do the formatting. You can change the font style. You can change the size of the. You can change the size of the font. You can also apply colors. You can also change the background colors. You can make it as a bold, italic, underline, strikeout. And then you can also put it in a proper order like a center, top, middle. Like that, right? And then you can also wrap the text or you can make it as a normal one. So all of these can be done. Okay, apart from this, you can also add a border like a table, right? You can add a border and then you can give spaces, leading and trailing spaces. You can add a margin. You can also add a page break. Whatever you do it on the Word document, right? You can do everything now in the BIRT report. So now I'm going to add a new data source. What is a data source? Data source is a table wherein you have all the data inside. Where is the report that we created? I think they have given a different ID. Yes, it will have the data sets wherein you have to pick the correct data source to get your data. So now what I did, have you seen? Let me do it again. I am creating a new data source. It says new data source, meaning we already have built this data source in tenant right in Workday, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking the new data source. And then there is an option called Workday Report Data Source, which means I am pulling the data source from Workday. There are several other methods also to pull the data source, but are more technical. Normally BIRT report. For the BIRT report, we use the Workday Report Data Source. So I'm going to click Next. Once I click Next, you see there are two options. It is asking me to bring the report description from Workday, select report description from Workday, or even you can put that report in your desktop and then you can pull it out. Let's connect directly from Workday. And then you have to choose the environment which you have logged in. And then I'm going to give the name of the report, and then you could see that report has come here. I'm going to select this and finish. Now you can see that report is connected. So this report that we created has multiple fields. All these are fields. Okay, so we call those fields as a data sets. This is the data source, right? These are data sets. Now we have to connect a sample report data. So let us say we will download it from Workday. I'm going to download a sample data. See, you can see there is a limit. I'm saying that a maximum of 10 entries. I don't want more than that. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to filter this report to run for just one employee. There is an option called the fields on the report. So it will quickly display the fields that are currently we have added, so that you don't need to search every time. Okay. So what I did, have you seen? So what I'm doing is I'm transferring the report ownership. Okay, you can also transfer your report ownership to others. One report can have only one owner. So what I did is, once you transfer the ownership, you will not be the owner of the report. The reason why I'm doing this is I am unable to connect to the report. You need to be a owner for that report. The studio that we are using is having a different access, wherein the report that we are having is a different access. So that's why I'm trying to connect. So now, since I transferred this ownership, I should be seeing that name here. See detailed account report. Right. Now if I try to download, it should not show any error. Yeah. So you should be the owner of the report, otherwise you will not be able to pull that report into BIRT report. Okay. So the report is shared with others. Like if we click on the option shared with others, that is different. Shared with others is fine because we are giving access for them to just run the report. Wherein, if you want to do any sort of a template or something, then you have to be the owner of the report. So what I did now, I just pulled the report, right? And then I just pulled the sample data for testing. Now the step is complete. So you will find this here, the data source that we have added it here, right? And then now I need the data sets. So I have the data source. Data source is where we are connecting to the report definition. Data sets is where we connect to report fields. I'm selecting the new data sets. You have two options. One is primary and secondary. What is primary? What is secondary? All the business objects that are directly related to this data source or primary. Any related business object. The secondary business object or the related business object will be called as secondary. So, since this report doesn't contain any secondary business object, we are just using the primary object. I'm just going to mention the data set's name as worker. You can still rename it or you can keep as it is. Okay. So these are all like a wizard, like step-by-step wizard. So you can just click next and then you will see the fields that are there. So this is the data wizard. So once you give next, you will see the fields that we have added into the report. So you can also do a cross validate whether we have all these fields here. So it is showing all these fields here, right? And then you can also see the output. There is an option called preview results. See whatever data that we have filtered, it is showing up here. Output of the report. This output can be seen only on the primary business object. Secondary business object. We will not be able to see the output results, the preview results. This row will be blank. Only on the primary data we will be able to see the results. Right? And then I have given. So when I give OK, you can see that fields are added here. Now I'm good to start with the let a sample letter I can employ. Letter. So this is the blank template. I'm going to enter a grid, a 1 by 1 grid. Okay. These are all just like an alignment stuff. So you don't need to worry. I'm going to add a border here. on the overall page. So I just added a border, okay, to make look like a letter. Now I have added a grid right. Insert the grid. I'm going to put a label. Employee verification letter. I'm going to align this center. I'm going to change this font to Arial and then increase the size to 14 and then going to make it as a bird. You can also define the styles by creating a code XML coding. You can define your own styles for each and everything. Like if it is an header, it should have this style. If it is a footer or a message body text, you can use this style. I get you can predefine it if you are good at coding. And then once I am done with this, I am going to add a text or a table. Let me add a table. So I am going to just select everything and then I'm going to enter. So for this, what I'm going to do is I am going to add a new grid. These are all just a formatting stuff. Okay, how you want, it's not mandatory. It's a formatting thing you can decide. You can decide on your own. Okay, I am just doing it because I felt it would be good if I have a proper formatting. So what I'm doing is I am defining like give me 1 second. Okay. See what I did? I just added a grid. Okay, and then I added 2 rows on the first row. I am putting the employee verification letter, which is a title. The second row, I am putting the data. I just inserted a table. Right. Are you able to follow? So please stop me if you have any questions because please stop me if you have any questions because it's more of a technical thing. So the moment when I inserted a table, it asked me for a. When I say insert table, it will ask me for a data sets. Only if you have data sets you can insert a table. Otherwise, you cannot insert a table or else you can just mention a normal blank table. Tables are mainly used to bring in the data. Okay, there are 2 ways. One, you can either drag and drop this here. This will be showing as a table or you can just add a field here. Okay, so that tunnel you can do sure. So now I have given all these things. Let's try testing. So before every step, right, I would suggest every step that you do. Please go on test. So I'm giving it as a PDF version. Can you see how it is appearing? So now let's try. What we will do is, I'm going to align this in a proper order. Okay, so I just inserted a table. Rather, I'm going to put a letter format. I'm going to insert. Dynamic text. So we are going to design a letter. Okay. Let me remove this table. Watch all the steps carefully because we are going to add some of the additional things. So this to whomsoever it may concern, if I run and see, it will be very closer to this. Employee verification letter title. See, this doesn't look nice, right? So all these are formatting. So what I'm going to do here, I am selecting this box. There's employee verification. This is not an header. Whatever header if you are referring to, you have to do it in the master page. Okay, but usually as you mentioned, headings in the header. Yeah, that's a good option as well. So you can just go here and then you can insert a label and then you can put a letter, this thing, and then same thing. Whatever we did there, we can do it here. Okay, if you do so, this title will be appearing in all the pages. That is the challenge. I don't want this to appear in all the, for example, for one employee. If there are 2 pages, right, then this will still show up. That will not look good, right? So that is the reason I am putting it here. Okay, if there is a company logo as such, then you can put it on the header or footer. Right. So now, yes, since we mentioned that, let me try to quickly take this one. So I need some image. So that's why I'm taking this. Who are the image? We did already capture this. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm going to add a new row above. Okay, I need a Workday logo here. Just imagine that it's not a Workday logo. It's a company's logo. When I say insert image, there are 4 options. Either you can provide a URL or from a shared resources or embedded image or a dynamic image. I'm going to put an embedded image and then I'm going to select this image and then giving OK. Okay, so this is stored here. So now I need to align this to the right side. Okay, once you do so, what we have to do? We have to do a test. See how it is appearing, right? If you want this logo to appear in all the pages, you can go to master page. You can add that here. Okay, so now I need some space after this employee verification letter because both these are coming together. So I'm clicking this title and then you can see there is an option called padding. So you see top, bottom, left, right? So I'm going to give on the bottom. I'm going to give 30. Right. If I give 30 or 10 or 20, it depends on the space that you need. So I want a maximum space. See, you can see there is a space that has been created between right. That is where padding helps. Okay. So now I am going to write a letter saying going to insert a dynamic text. Okay. The reason why we are entering dynamic test is we have to bring in this field. Okay. If you want to just type a letter, you can insert a text box, but in text box you cannot insert a field. So for that you have to use a dynamic text. Okay. So whatever you put it on the dynamic text, if it is a text, it should be under the code. Okay. Before that, I'm going to add a binding to this grid. Binding meaning mapping this into a proper data sets. I am giving a connection to this data sets that we have. Right. If I do so, then it will allow me to add the fields that are with that data sets. When I say column binding, I am creating a link. So when I do so, I am able to see all the fields here, right? So every time you have to create that binding which data sets you are going to refer. So after which I am saying worker name. This is to certify that, and then I mentioned worker name. Whenever you write, you do an expression builder, do select this validate option so that there are no errors found. You click this and see whether if any errors are there. So I have given just a line. Let's see how it is appearing. Can you see? It is coming. It is switching the appropriate name. So now you are going to tell me I need a space in between these two. Tell me what I have to do. You can go to the padding. Yeah, bottom. So you are. Let's change. So I am selecting this one. Okay. You can go to the top and give us certain parts, maybe 20. Then you can wait. Okay. So alignment and all it's up to us. We can design. So if I want to change the font, those things I can do on my own right. So then I'm going to add some more lines. If I need to add some more, then I have to give plus. This is to certify that this person title reports to Steve Morgan is based out of, so there are no spaces. Can you see there are no spaces here? It doesn't look nice, right? So what we can do? Okay, wherever we see that. So you have to add a blank space. All these are formatting. Okay, it might look tough while looking into it, but it's very easy only. Okay. Okay, whatever you do it on the Word document. That's the aim thing we are doing this year. Wherever you are adding, you give a plus symbol. Okay, see, now it looks fine. Right. So this is how you start writing a letter. Once we do this, okay, just imagine we are done with this letter. And then now I wanted to deploy this into Workday. I want to move this letter into Workday. Before that, make sure there are no heights and which that are mentioned. I'm going to click Run. There is an option called Deploy to Workday. So I'm going to click Run. Select the report. Appropriate report that are associated with this. Okay, and then the next step is create a business form layout. What is the business form layout? A business form layout is a connector that connects the report design and the Workday report. It acts as a middleman which connects the Workday report design and the Workday report. Are you able to follow? It's a little confusing. So in simple terms, see, Workday is a different application. Workday is a different system. Right. We have the Studio, which is a different system altogether. There are two different systems. Right. How do you connect? How do you connect these two different systems? Okay, in another term, in another way for connecting to Workday. Okay, let's forget about this for the time being. So you are connected to Workday from Studio. What you did, you have given the same access that you got in Workday. See, you have given your access right login details. You are connecting to the tenant, which means from Studio, you are connecting to Workday. Same way we have to do with reverse. Now you have to send this to Workday. Okay, you are able to pull data from Workday. That's why you are able to design all these things. Now it's a reverse again. You have to push this to Workday system right. So for that there is a called connector called business form layout. This is a connector, okay, which will act as a middleman that connects both. This is called as a report design. Okay, this is called as a report design. It connects both report design and the custom report This is the custom report. Write that business form layout will help will act as a middleman which will connect both this report and report design. Okay, it's a connector which will be available in Workday. See, two things to make it even more simple in Studio. You have a Workday access right. You have a Workday icon here, which is a Workday login details. So in Studio, you have an option to connect to Workday so that it is easy for you to pull the report and the data sets. Yes, similarly in Workday. You have a term called business form layout, which will help us to connect. To Studio. Okay, so this will not connect in real life, but it acts as a connector. Let me show you some sample. I am saying a compensation letter wherein it is saying it is bringing the report design and it is attaching it to the report. This is the name of the report. This is a report design. It is attaching both together a connector. So now what we are going to do similarly. So for this one, we do not have a custom business form layout, right? So we have to create a new one. When you create a new one, you have to provide a description. So I'm going to say employee verification letter and I'm going to give an expiration date as 30. And no comments. This is one of the most important things, apply per row. If you do not checkbox this, it will keep adding multiple employees in the same letter. What is the row in Workday? Instance. A new employee data will appear in each and every row, right? This is a row. Okay, since I have hard filtered, it is only bringing one employee. Otherwise, it will keep adding rows. So what I am saying here, apply per row, meaning for each and every employee per row. Apply this template. Do not print the template for all the employee on single page. Write and then deploy. I'm going to give deploy this document. Expiration is how long you want this report to be stored in your My Reports. Okay, My Reports, meaning any transfers that are happening, any reports that you generate will be stored in My Reports. So now I'm giving a deploy option. So what it says, deployed successful. Okay. Now we have deployed this letter. Now let's get back to Workday. Now let me try to rerun this report. When I rerun, can you see there is an option called print? Before it was not there. Now I'm going to print. I'm going to say notify me later. When I say notify me later, it will automatically come to my reports. See, it is printed. Okay, but this is printed for only this employee. Now what we will do? We will add one more employee. If I do not do like that, then it will print for all the 2000 or 6000 employees. So just for testing. Okay, so they have to do it manually for each and every person. It depends. See again. There are multiple options to do that. Okay, this is a straightforward method. I'm showing it to you. Okay, it's not mandate that they have to always see normally any. If you take salary increase letter, or when you are looking into C, for example, the main purpose of this is to avoid the manual work that we do, right? Because every data is there in the system. You are not maintaining it externally, so you can directly print it from here and then you can distribute it to employees. So normally what will happen is manager will print and send it to their employees, or HR will print and send it to their employees, or employee themselves will print on their own. There are three different scenarios, right? Or else an integration admin can print and send it to the employees' Workday inbox. Okay. So those are multiple options that we have. See, now I will be able to add this as a prompt. Okay, so when I add this as a prompt, I'm going to pick some random 3 employee sample. So let me add this. And then we will also add this employee. Okay, so let's try to print it for the 3 employees. Okay. Okay, I'm going to print. There is another option as well, right? You don't need to always get into the report. Rather, there is an option called lay. See, we got this printer. Let's quickly check on that. You will get see 3 place, 3 pages. See, since we have given apply per row, right? Yes, it has moved to second page. Can you see all these are 3 different employees? In this way, they can prepare letter for all in one single PDF. There is another option wherein you don't need to get into the report always. You can just go to the print screen. If you see the layout option right, you have an option called print. It will directly take you to the prompt screen. It will not ask you to run the report. When I say this, it will. If I say OK, then it will be printed. See, it did not generate the report at all. You can see that has come now. Are you able to follow? Okay. So whatever the document that you printed would be there in my reports. It's like your own drive. Others cannot see. Okay, so let's connect tomorrow. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.